Hi, Wycliffe Barrett here. Nice to see you again, Xplane fans. I've been away all weekend and it's time for a very quick review. SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1.1 and Real Weather Connector. Plus, I'm going to do Dallas Fort Worth International.
November 180 Bravo Bravo, good afternoon to you. Report your altitude? 2,000 feet on 1014 Bravo Bravo. Bravo.
Okay, so it's here. It came out last Friday and SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1.1 and the Real Weather Connector came out. Now, first things first, if you've already got SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1, you get a 25% discount on the Real Weather Connector. Real Weather Connector is $19.95, but if you already own SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1, then you get 25% off that $19.95. But that was for only 1 week, so you've got 5 days left from this video going up. You've got 5 days left to get that 25% discount, which obviously is going to be Friday, because the discount was only valid for 1 week. Okay, so that's that out of the way. Where do you get it from? You get it from Xaviation, www.xaviation.com. I've got the website up here on the page, as you can see. Go to software, I think. Yes, software, and then you've got mAXX, Real Weather Connector, SkyMaxX Pro version 3. As I say, if you've already got SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1, what you do is you get the Real Weather Connector with a 25% discount, but you also have to download SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1.1. Okay, so there's been a revision to SkyMaxX Pro 3.1, which came out just over a week, I think ago, 8 days ago maybe, and that revision is now 3.1.1, which you get free. You know, it's just an update, but the Real Weather Connector, the full price is $19.95. You get it with a 25% discount. Okay, so that is that, and you get it from Xaviation. You download it and you install it, right? So we'll just get to Dallas Fort Worth International Open because I'm going to review that airport at the same time as looking at SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1.1 and the Real Weather Connector. I'm moving into the part of the review that talks about SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1.1 and the Real Weather Connector. But before I do that, let's talk about the people behind Sundog and SkyMaxX Pro and mAXX. There are two people really that are the main influences in this incredible project of SkyMaxX Pro and mAXX. John Spann and Frank Kane. Okay, these are the two people that really are SkyMaxX. John Spann was a flight sim enthusiast, but also he's an enthusiast of weather. When I say weather, a meteorologist. He's a photographer, and also he used to photograph clouds. And he had an idea that maybe through his work that he'd done with mAXX and Urban Max, that he might be able to do something with cloud textures. And so had loads of photographs of clouds and really didn't know how to go about this and how to implement this. He came across Frank Kane. All right, Frank Kane has been in the gaming industry, programming side for quite some years, more years than his age belies in actual fact, because he worked on some incredible products in the past, such as Leisure Suit Larry, I believe, because he worked for, and I'm just trying to find, he worked for famous gaming houses where adventure games were made, such as Leisure Suit Larry. Now that's going back some time, and that was by Sierra Online. He also worked for Looking Glass Studios, and they created Flight Unlimited 3. He's an incredibly talented person, and he's a programmer. He's done some amazing work with his company, Sundog. Okay, and Sundog Software have created an SDK called Silver Lining, which is a cloud and weather generator. And some of the people that have used that, some of his customers, for example, are Boeing, Airbus, the US Navy, Lockheed Martin, the Federal Aviation Authority, and hundreds more who've purchased his Silver Lining SDK obviously Boeing and Airbus using it within their big flight simulators. And so we gain some benefit of that, obviously, because he's transposed that work into SkyMaxX Pro. And so John Spann and Frank Kane got together and collaborated on creating what we have here. And through that collaboration is this wonderful product that we've had for I think it's coming on for 3 years now in slightly different iterations, but I think this is the best that we're ever going to see. No, that's wrong. This is the best we've got at the moment, and I know that SkyMaxX will just keep pushing the envelope further and further, way outside what Laminar envisaged when they put Xplane together. So I don't think there's any more I need to say other than John Spann got in touch with Frank Kane in 2013, having seen his Silver Lining Cloud SDK online, and everything grew from there. So 2013 was a good year. So in actual, 3 years, we're into 2016. Anyway, let's have a look. All right, I've got it up on screen here now, and you download the package from X Aviation, as I said earlier on. I'm just going to turn that down because it's booming in my ears. You get it from X Aviation, and you install SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1.1, and you'll notice there are a couple of things slightly different here. You change cloud detail and cloud area covered, and so that's slightly different. And then you've got this business here around the clouds, where you've got fast, soft, and crisp. And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to demonstrate what that means real time. Crepuscular rays is the same. There's been an extra resolution of Cirrus layer. So you've got Cirrus texture version and Cirrus layer resolution. Sky colors remain the same. Enable cloud reflections on water. Now you've got this bit, stratus overcast representation, so the solid stratiform broken, dense particles and sparse particles, lens flare, cloud shadows, and this is shadows on the ground, and then cloud terrain blend softness, which I discussed in the last review, which is how the clouds react around mountains and how they appear around mountains and hills. Okay, so that is SkyMaxX Pro version 3.11. A few differences there, not an awful lot, but I'll come back to that in a moment, okay? So the real weather connector. Now, I must admit, I was expecting all sorts of magic with the real weather connector, but then once you've got it installed, you see here on this configuration, you've got more from mAXX and real world weather. So you click on real world weather, and this is the real world weather connector or real weather connector. And there are 3 settings. Now, I hope I get this right. Please bear with me. If you do not fly online, if you don't fly online, okay, you have the top box ticked, automatic, only when real world weather is on, okay? So you use the top one there, and what will happen is the real world weather will be injected via Xplane's data source, all right? So that's that. If you fly online, as I do, and many others, you put always, when to use real-world metadata for clouds, always, and it ignores the Xplane settings and gets the weather source, injects the weather source into the sim from VATSIM, IVAO, okay, or any other online system that you may use. All right, I use VATSIM all the time. I always fly online, even when I'm testing. So I always click always. It ignores Xplane settings. All right, and then the third setting is never. Only read weather data refs instead. Now, I'm not quite sure what that means, but I suspect that that's talking about historical weather, when you actually create historical weather within the sim, or you create your own weather patterns within the sim, and that's how you'd use that. Okay, so that is it. That's all you need to do. So all the magic is done within the software. There are no settings greater than that within the real weather connector. really confusing. I was expecting loads more.
A few moments later.
Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, and what I've done since the previous clip is I've actually connected to VATSIM, so I'm actually online with VATSIM. As you notice, these main clouds here remain much the same. They're moving around, drifting about slowly, but the haze layer has changed, and now so I'm actually injecting into the sim real world weather. A couple of things to discuss, primarily around cloud sets, textures. Which clouds do you use? Now, for quite a few months, a number of us have been using FSG-RW, okay? Flight Simulator Global Real Weather, FSG-RW. The recommendation from Sundog and SkyMaxx is that, yes, you can use those, but you get better results just using the default clouds, okay? Better results just using default clouds, and that's what I'm using here now. And you can see, actually, that it is quite star-slim. I'm zoomed out an awful long way, and I'm trying to zoom out even further so that you can get a greater field of view. So let's try and get out. Hang on, let's try and get out there. And it's very difficult because it's real weather. It's not remaining static. It moves around all the time. And even though I'm trying to zoom way out here across the airfield so I can give you a better view across the horizon, it's difficult because the clouds are up. See, they're up here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go up through the clouds. Hopefully this works. So here we go. We're going up through the clouds. And you can see we've got multiple layers. Let's have a look down now. We've got multiple layers, and we're going up and up into the cloud. So that is broken at whatever, a couple of thousand feet, okay, or scattered a couple of thousand feet. Seems to be a bit of a thunderhead there. Oh yeah, look, there you go. Lightning hitting the ground, coming out of the cloud. Clouds flickering a little bit. Oh, there's the lightning. Look at that. That is amazing. This is the first time I've seen this. First time I've seen thunder. Now, I haven't made this weather up. This is what's happening at Dallas, Fort Worth right now, real time. Okay, I think if I was on real time, it would be night time. But hang on, let's see where we're at. Date and time. Let's go to real time. So it's midnight. And there you go. There's that storm. You can just see it. Oh, wow. Look at that. That is amazing. Wow. That is incredible. The clouds light up at night time with the lightning hitting. That is incredible. I have never seen anything like that in any simulator ever before. In 20 years plus of flying simulators, I have never ever seen anything quite like that. That is amazing. Oops. Understood. Didn't want to do that. So let's get back. Oh my good God. You could just sit and watch this, couldn't you? That is incredible. I suppose if I was over in that direction and I turned up the sound, we'd hear that. Maybe we should do that. Okay, let's get back to daylight. Look at that. I've never ever seen anything like that. That's amazing. So this is real time. This is what's happening in Dallas, Fort Worth. So as we climb up, what would be really interesting is to see where that thunderhead goes. So as we climb up through the cloud, obviously it's going to grey out because we're in dense cloud. We'll come out on top. So we've gone through 2 layers of cloud. Here we come, coming out of the top. And look at that. I mean, that is breathtaking, isn't it? That is breathtaking. See, and there's even another layer of cloud here. So, and you can see weather fronts. I mean, look at that. That is amazing. You need a huge monitor with a massive field of view to see that. All right. Okay, so we still got, this distance thing. And within SkyMaxX Pro, the settings, let me just open this up a second. Configuration. you can set cloud area covered. I've got it set at 13,140 square kilometers. You know, so you can set it as far as you want. I think that is good enough. Okay, whilst we're here, let's have a look at these settings a moment. So we've got crisp, soft, and fast. Now these are the clouds, all right? So I've got them on crisp, which I suppose is your high definition cloud. You can see that you've got these ragged edges which fade away, all right? So let's change that to soft. Apply changes, okay? So the changes are being applied. There we go. And the weather is being rebuilt. Okay, so it's rebuilt, and that is your soft. So you see the difference, especially on this one here. You didn't have those kind of ragged edges. Now, I don't know whether I like the soft, but you know, you use soft and you gain performance, kind of thing. You gain performance, but you still got the weather front. Look at that. That looks amazing. Still looks incredible. So let's have a look at fast. Obviously, what this means is you get the greatest performance out of the machine using SkyMaxX Pro real weather connectors. So we'll just apply fast. All right, and just wait a second. And it takes. There we go. So the weather's being rebuilt now, and you know the weather is exactly the same. There's a slight difference in the cloud formation and cloud structure, but the weather is the same. We've still got this huge weather front here. I suppose if we was to descend, that storm would still be burbling away. So let's try and get down here now. I was going to do an approach, but I don't know whether I want to now in this weather. So we'll come down through. So that's the top layer. There's this layer here now. And as we come out of base, there was another layer, wasn't there, with that thunderstorm. Oh, very grey, very thick and cloudy. And here we come. Now, last night, where was I flying to last night? I flew to Copenhagen, and as we climb up through the cloud, it was like going dimmer. There we go. Right, so we've lost our thunderstorm now, I think. I can't find it. Scrolling around, may have gone, for all I know. Yeah, I can't find it now. It's gone. All right, but not to worry. You kind of get a real good picture of what this looks like. I'm even lost now from the airport. I have no idea where the airport is. There it is. So, you've got to make a choice. Fast, soft, or crisp. I'm okay with crisp because of my machine. You are going to need a powerful machine, I think, with a good graphics card to see everything you want to see. You really are. It's going to take some power to run this kind of stuff. But there we go. Crisp settings. That thunderstorm seems to have dissipated, or is that it over there? That's it. There we go. So there's a thunderstorm. And that is a proper thunderhead, isn't it? See? That is a proper thunderhead. It's, once again, I think when it comes to settings, you know, you've got to be really careful because it's different for everybody. What I would suggest is that when you first put it in, is that you just use default. Use the default settings. It comes, you know, when you load it in, it will create some default settings, which actually are very, very good. I haven't moved too far away from the default. I've got broken stratiform on for the upper layer, so when you're flying above the clouds, you get a nice kind of wispy effect. There's sparse particles and dense particles. They all have an impact. They all have an impact on your machine, and you've just got to figure out which is, you know, which you can manage. For me to suggest settings, I don't think. Oh, look, those are the God rays coming through from the sun there. Let me get that. Some people say, "Oh, I don't like the turning on and off effect." It isn't like that when you're flying along. You know, I mean, that is. It's just that just blows my mind. That kind of stuff. So when you're flying along, it doesn't turn on and off like a light switch. This is just because I've moved into position here. But you can see the God rays coming from the sun down onto the cloud here, down to the left foreground and over on the right-hand side here. You see the rays. And as the clouds move, you see the rays move as well. And they're actually moving now as this cloud changes. The cloud in the top part of the scene here as that moves and changes and reforms. You can see that the God rays are actually moving down here on the right hand side at the 4 o'clock position. See how they're becoming more distinct. And it's absolutely breathtaking. You're never ever going to see anything like this in any other simulator, I can assure you. Look at this God ray here on the left hand side at the 7-8 o'clock position. Now it's shifting through the cloud ever so slowly. You could just sit and watch this. You really could. You could just sit and watch it. It's, okay, so here we are now at KDFW, which is Dallas Fort Worth International Airport. It's available on Xplane.org, and it is $24.95. You may think this is expensive, and it is a pay-where airport, but just look at the size of this place. It is immense. I can't remember how many runways it's got. I think it's got 8 runways, so that's 2 on the left and 2 on the right, times 2 because you've got both ends, so you've got 8 runways. It's huge, and the amount of work that has gone into this airport is absolutely incredible. There seems to be almost aircraft on every stand, but that's not quite true, because if we have a look up here, go to Select Global Airport, you can see there are a number of stands available. Not so many as you might like, but there are enough stands, I think. Even if you was flying on VATSIM, you'd still be able to find somewhere to park up, so to speak. So let's go back here. Let me just tell you a couple of things about it, and to do that, let's pull up the Xplane.org page. As you can see, KDFW Dallas Fort Worth, Americans country, $24.95. This has been produced by Americans Territory, which is the developers. So Dallas Fort Worth International Airport is the primary international airport serving the Dallas Fort Worth area in the US state of Texas, the Lone Star State. Features gates and terminals accurately modelled, static aircraft at gates, animated aircraft, photo-real ground textures, custom ATC, realistic night lighting, many custom starting locations. Very large airport. It's got 5 terminals, 7 runways. I thought it was 8. 7 runways, 165 gates, 3 control towers. There's ground traffic plug-in by marginal. All gates utilise AutoGate by marginal, and there are real flags plug-in as well. It's absolutely huge. $24.95. I think that is really, really good. But there are a couple of things that are kind of missing, or I would like to see, such as this area here behind one of the terminals. That needs sorting out a little bit with some maybe ground clutter, etc. But the road layout is really good, and there is a working monorail here. You can see it travelling along really good. The other thing I like is the ground clutter. I have a big thing about ground clutter. Anybody who knows me, anybody who's seen some of the airports that I created with the Lego system will know that I like ground clutter. And I think they've got it just about right here, as always. It's a fine balance between having too much and too little. But I think they've got it just right here. But with an airport this size, you'd have to have ground clutter, otherwise it just wouldn't look alive. Also, I think, and this is this old argument about static aircraft and no aircraft, at an airport this size, you would have to have some static aircraft around, otherwise it just wouldn't look real. It would look like a nuclear winter. I've seen some airports that are like that, where they just haven't put anything in, and it just doesn't look right. Now, for some people, those who like to fly online, for example, VATSIM people like me, maybe there shouldn't be any static aircraft at all, and there should just be empty gates. And so therefore, you've got to fly online, and you can get to anywhere you want to go, and you can park on any stand. I am a VATSIM flyer, but I don't subscribe to that idea. I really like to see some static aircraft on the ground. These are really good ones as well. I don't know where they've got these from, but these are really good. They look almost like fully formed. There's nothing clunky about these. So I'd be interested to know where they've got these static aircraft from, personally. Anyway, that's that argument. As you can see, numerous buildings and so well modelled. I mean, there's real depth of feeling to this airport. How often will I fly here? I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to make a flight here. Got to one day, I think. I've downloaded it, installed it. So I think I must. And these things, when you look like this, okay, so in the foreground here, you know, we've got a busy terminal, we've got a monorail, but going through to the mid area here, you can see, you know, still an awful lot of activity going on, a lot of aircraft on stands. It looks really quite something, really quite special. I like this an awful lot. And we've still yet to look at it in night lighting, so we'll do that in a moment. I don't know what else I can say about this airport other than it is superb. I mean, there are little bits and pieces everywhere. You know, you really need to be able to have a good wander around. And we're just looking on one side here. I mean, look over here, where you've got the fuel farm right over the back here by the tree line. You've got probably maintenance hangars over here, and some, what do we call that, cargo areas. And look at the cars in the car park. For a change, they're not all grey and black and white. We've got actually different coloured cars, although maybe it's a bit too rainbowish. Although I like that. I think it looks really good. I wonder what it looks like at night time with that night lighting. I should imagine it'll look really good. Looking out towards the open country there of Texas, it really blends in well. We haven't even gone to any altitude yet. It looks superb. I really like this airport, and I suggest if you can afford it, if you've got the money and you can afford it, then get yourself a copy. If you live in the States, watching this, then I suggest that this is probably one that you really need to get hold of quite quickly. Okay, we're going to stop there because obviously we need to move on to SkyMaxX Pro version 3.1.1 and the real weather connector. I'm going to look at it at the same place here at Dallas Fort Worth. Just slowly scanning around here and having a look at this beautiful, beautiful airport that has been created, Dallas Fort Worth. I tell you what, let's just come around here and look at the other side. It's photoreal textures that blend in really well. Don't forget, excuse me, don't forget, I have only default ground textures in the US. I haven't got any photoreal, okay? So it is blending in with the default scenery, ground textures really well. Looks superb. I never knew Dallas was so flat. I thought maybe there might be a couple of hills, but yeah, I suppose Dallas, Texas is fine cattle ranching country, so yeah, it might be a little bit flat. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. There's so much here. It's huge. It really is huge. I'm going to do an approach in a moment onto one of the runways, 10-mile approach, just to show you the real weather connector. So we'll stop right there, and I'll be back in a moment. I did say I was going to do a 10-mile approach, so shall we try one? We'll just try one. So let's get into the aircraft here. Location, select global airport, and we'll do a 10-mile approach. Okay, guys, here we are. I'm just trying to gain some height. Heading for 36 right. Let's just get this master caution on. Don't forget, I've just thrown the aircraft up in the air. Nothing super fancy about this. Let's get the volume up so we can hear what's going on. Okay, so 36 right. We can see we've got some weather ahead there. It's just not. That's the view I want. It's not helpful. Let's get some flat. Whoops, a daisy. So here we are. We need to slow down now, I think. It does look absolutely amazing, you know, as you fly through the weather, different weather fronts. As I say, nothing fancy here. Alright, let's get back on the runway. Right, so you can see there's weather all over the place, and the haze is coming in now that we talked about. Just slowing down for the runway. Hopefully the visibility remains. This is the Boeing 737, X737 from EADT, as you well know. This is going to be released on May the 1st with its full 3D cockpit. You can get the aircraft now in 2D form, no problem at all. So we're just coming into Dallas Fort Worth International. The airport comes out of the gloom and the mist, which is really, really nice. Looking good. Just trying to do a quick shift to night time. There we go. A little bit high, not too worried. A little bit fast. Slowing down nicely, here we go. 140, 149.
50, 30, 20, 10.
There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, as they say. Dallas Fort Worth International and Real Weather Connector from SkyMaxx. What a review. Sorry it's been a long one, and it has been a long one, but there's so much to tell you. And there's actually one other thing to mention, which I haven't mentioned, and that is... Whoops. Well, the one thing, let me turn this down again. Open volume mixer. Let's just turn that down there. The one thing I haven't told you is about the clouds, is the way that they change colour, and we can't see that at the moment, but they change. They're beautiful. I mean, they're white during the day, but if we've got lots of cloud, they'll be grey underneath, white on top, and as the sun goes down, obviously they change colour. They just look beautiful. That there is the sun and God rays. Okay, so once again, you've got that effect, but when you're actually flying along, you fly to it. It doesn't turn on and off like that, like a light switch, I have to say. Okay, that's it. It's a long review. It's early morning, and I think I've done really, really well. So I need to crack on. I've got a busy old day. Oh, one thing we didn't do, we didn't look at Dallas Fort Worth at night, so let's quickly do that. Beautiful night lighting. Let's make an adjustment here. So I think, personally, that's my favourite setting. So there we go. That looks absolutely stunning. I've got the replacement lights in there, you know, the white lights. You can have white and orange light, or orange for around the roads. So many countries, so many cities are changing to white LED lights for their street lighting. Okay, that's it. As always, this is Wycliffe Barrett, and I'll see you all again soon. Cheerio.
Yeah.